Hello, our wonderful viewers. Welcome to Enuani Cultural Forum, where we discuss the rich cultural heritage of the Igbo people. In case this is your first time of coming across any of our videos, kindly hit the subscribe button. Also, kindly hit the notification bell so that when we put out videos, you will be among the first set of people to see the video. Today, we are going to react to a trending video. Have you seen this video of Prince Ephraim or the Akose of Onicholona proudly making boast and insulting the person of EZECHIMA, spewing historical jargons that are untrue and unfounded? Now, normally we will ignore such video, but this is not the kind of video we will ignore. Prince Ephraim Odiakose in recent time has been in cahoot with his Benin friends to propagate falsehood about EZECHIMA, whom he has finally accepted is an Igbo man. Now, it took us a lot of time to convince people with evidence that EZECHIMA was an Igbo man. Now that people have finally been convinced, he is now on a campaign of calumny against the person of EZECHIMA. Let me not bore you with so many discussions. Let me leave you to watch the video and judge for yourself what Prince Ephraim Odiakose had to say about the person of EZECHIMA. Enjoy watching.
I am and I speak as a descendant of Obaiware the First, whom EZECHIMA wanted to kill through his own wife, the daughter of Obaiware the First. Uvi, the sister of Edeleyo, the wife of Obosa. Obosa, a Benin warrior who would have beheaded Chima at the present day Onitsha, but was stopped because the mission of the war was to depose Chima and to retrieve the staff with which Iware installed him as Enogie or Eze over the Igbo-speaking people who were residing in the Eka area as at that time. Killing him or beheading him, as Obosa wanted to do, would have left them with no clue on how to find the staff. I will get back to this and then deal with it properly, because this is another part of the history. Chima was an Igbo man who came to Benin on a mission which was unknown prior to the time he instigated his wife to help him kill her own father. And refusing to follow the order of her husband killed her. Her husband is EZECHIMA, and the lady is Uvi, the daughter of Iware the Great, as I mentioned before. Now, I say again, I speak as a descendant of Oba Iware the First, whom EZECHIMA wanted to kill through his own wife and the daughter of Iware the First. I speak as a descendant of Esigie, whom also, after EZECHIMA's life was initially spared, also stirred the pot and caused a revolt against the Esigie's ascension to the throne using the birth of Aroa. I speak as a descendant of one of the two princes that led the last wave of the war against EZECHIMA. I speak as one who also know where the head of the brother of EZECHIMA, called Eke for short, or Ekensu in full, where his head was buried in Olona till today, and it's a shrine. So, I am not speaking from the perspective of someone who has no knowledge or family connection to whatever happened with EZECHIMA. And I do not say this to incite any emotional sentiments or to insult anybody, than to state the fact categorically clear that Ezechima is not a Benin man and that Onitsha people are not descendants of Ezechima. As I have stated the categorical ancestries of the different quarters in Onitsha in the last section. Now, Ikimi is a different man. He was the Enogie or Eze of Irua, appointed and installed by Oba Iwere the Great. Ikimi is the man that Iseluku people have connection with paternally. And the people who are the descendants, direct descendants of Isele, the son of Ikimi, can be found in Obofo in Iseluku today. Again, Iseluku is named after Isele, Prince Isele, also called Prince Eze Ise, who was the son of Ikimi, the Enogie or Enoje or Eze of Irua. Again, depending on language, Enogie, Bini, Enoje, Ishan, Eze, Igbo. Now, I think with this, I've cleared this, that Ezechima is not, Onitsha people are not descendants of Ezechima. We are Umuiwere Agwaichima, Nde Chupu Echima na Nidu. What that means, we are Iwere's children and his warriors who chased or pursued Ezechima out of the land of Idu, which we call Benin today. We cannot chase Ezechima out of the land of Idu and become his children. Our elders were aware of all these happenings. And when the history started changing, and the drastic change in our history happened about 50 to 60 years ago, particularly and essentially after the creation of Ezechima clan in 1937. Take note, there was nothing like Ezechima clan prior to 1937. Ezechima clan, the creation of Ezechima clan is a construct and the work of Obio Semene the second and Donat Oko. Again, because I know that some people classify Onitsha as part of Ezechima clan. Sorry, Onitsha are not part of Ezechima clan. The co-option of Onitsha into Ezechima clan is a British government construct through Osemena II and Donatus Oko. Donatus Oko was the previous court clerk in the native court in Onitsha before the native court was eventually moved to Iseluku. The native court that people make reference to that I've noticed recently was not in Iseluku originally. It was originally in Onitsha. It has been in Onitsha for centuries before the British came. When they came, they took over the court. And after the Ekumeku War, with the whole thing that they did and what followed, the native court was moved from Onitsha to Iseluku. And the native court in Onitsha was operational till 1935, at least. But eventually was moved to Iseluku in 1937. Again, I've heard about the creation or the building of Ezechima Hall or so. The people that built Ezechima Hall know who they are, not Olona people. And there's a hall that was built in 1953 should not take precedence of a place or a location that has been a pre-existing location that has been in Olona long before 1953. Onitsha did not start in 1953. Iseluku did not start in 1953. Onitsha did not start in 1937. Iseluku did not start in 1937. So to claim and say that a clan, a geographical or geopolitical zone or enclave created by the British in 1937 takes precedence over the people that has been there for centuries is absurd. And say, I have to say categorically, because I've equally heard someone say on TV from the clip that was sent to me some time ago that Ubulu-Uku is the spiritual head and traditional head of Onitsha people and some people in the area. I still stand here by the honor and on the honor of my ancestors to say no. Ubulu-Uku is not the spiritual head of Onitsha. Neither is it traditional head of Onitsha. No disregard to Ubulu-Uku people, no disrespect to them, but factually stating what is true. Secondly, when EZECHIMA clan was created, Onitsha, Ezi, Obampa, Onitsha-Uku, and some others revolted against it, making it clear to the white man and Obieseme II that Onitsha people and they themselves are not descendants of Chima. This is not a fiction. This is history. Okay? Now, having cleared this, I want to say again for the clarity and for clarity that we the Olona people are not descendants of Chima. We are descendants of Iwere and his warriors. If we want to look into whether EZECHIMA is Igbo or Benin, let's look at other things and stay away from the noise. Let's look at the names of his children. His first daughter and the first child, according to history, is Uvi. It's Ovio, I mean. Ovio is the daughter born to EZECHIMA by Uvi, the daughter of Iwere. The only child of Chima that has Igbo name, Benin name, is Ovio. The first son, Oheze. People stop short at the full name or naming statement of Oheze. Oheze, the full name of that man is Oheze Nanambala Chima. You can agree with me that our people give name based on circumstances resolving around the child. Our elders made it clear that the people of Chima were in his compound or his area, whether they were having meeting or not, it's none of my business, when the news of the birth of Oheze was made known to the man. Hence, when he was being named, his father named him Oheze Nanambala Chima. I don't think that statement is a Benin statement. Is that? The meaning, for me to interpret to our Benin brothers and sisters, is that the people of Chima, or the people that Chima lead, were in his compound. That is the meaning of that statement. Or the short form of the statement is Oheze, for short. Next, Okpale. Okpa linobi Chima. Meaning, friendship can be found in Chima's quarters. Next, Igbo, which is translated, or which in Enuani dialect translates to Igbo or all Igbo. If we go deep into Enuani, Igbo, every Igbo man knows what that means. It's a statement of praise used to name the child that was born, asserting that Chima was a noble, a well-known person, noble or not, proficient and well-known in his tradition as an Igbo man, because he was a proficient traditional medicine man and a metaphysicist. As our history has it, he was one of the best of the time. The next man that matched him was Ezemu, who was equally credited with his own special part of traditional and metaphysical work that has to do with longevity of life called Idai. Ezemu was known very well to be one of the chiefs or one of the Ezes or Enogis that served or performed for Oba Iwere in the matters of extending longevity, and the rest of Obas after Iwere follow suit. We know that in our history to be true. Now, the next child of Chima, EZECHIMA'S. EZECHIMA'S, again, is another Igbo statement. Good God did. Now, when you look at these names and statements made by a father in naming his children, I believe that you and I can agree that the person that was speaking was not speaking Benin. He was speaking Igbo, because that is his dialect, that is his language.
Hey, I hope you enjoyed the video. Now, there are lots of historical misrepresentation in the presentation of Prince Ephraim and Yakose. First, let me begin with the statement that Ezemu served Oba Iwere the Great. No, Ezemu did not serve Oba Iwere the Great. Ezemu, according to historical sources, let me begin with Orosanya's report that states that Ezemu was one of the Ogiso's sons. That is even during the Ogiso era of 9th century in Benin Kingdom. That is why till today you still have Uge Obolo at the Oba's Palace in Benin. That Uge is a special reserve, like a guest house for any visitor from Ubulu-Uku royal family to the Oba's Palace in Benin. That was not Oba Iware's town. Let me also read out accounts that will also convince you, in case you are not convinced, that my father Ezemu did not serve Oba Iwere the Great. Now, according to the book Sociology of Ubulu-Uku Kingdom by Emmanuel Ikem and his compatriot Obiajulu Anene, let me read. Umuobi clan refers literally to the children of the king of Ubulu-Uku. How did this derive? In their work, The History of Ubulu-Uku Kingdom, Emma, Ikem, and Obianene gave a vivid account of the founding of the town. The progenitor of Ubulu-Uku was Ezemu, who was the hunter of unequaled marksmanship, a herbalist who was known not just in Ubulu-Uku and its immediate environs, but in every corner of the one-time Benin Empire. He was so famous as a herbalist that the then Oba of Benin invited him to Benin to prepare certain herbs for him. This helped to prolong the life of the Oba, and so he told his successor to invite Ezemu or his descendants to prepare the same medicine for him whenever he is sick. Successive Obas of Benin have continued this herbal treatment with the descendants of the men to whom Ezemu passed his herbal knowledge till date. Now, till date, there are prominent chiefs at the Palace of Benin who are from Ubulu-Uku, but that is not the aim of this video. The aim of this video is to correct the impression that Ezemu served Oba Iwere. Now, the hierarchy or chronology, the monarchical order of Ubulu-Uku kings, is very clear that the first king, who is Ezemu, ruled from the 12th century. Let me also read another historical work by Esther Wright in her book, The Story of Ubulu Kingdom. These stories lay claim to the association of Ubulu ancestors with the Ogiso era, a period said by the Benin historian Eyareva to be founded around 900 AD. The rulers or kings were commonly known as Ogiso. It is not clear how the Ogiso era connects to the ancestors of Ubulu, their origin, migration, and settlement. However, it is important to point out that what had been written by another Benin historian while outlining a diplomatic precedent during the Ogiso era, Orosanya in his book linked Obi Ubulu as the fourth son of one of the Ogisos. Now this is untrue, but his history, we have to read it out. You can also see where he listed it in D here, Obi of Ubulu-Uku, fourth son of Ogiso. So this cements my point that the Obi of Ubulu-Uku, Ezemu Obolo, was never an Enoje of Benin Kingdom. To Obaeware, he was the Obi of Ubulu-Uku Kingdom, who started associating with the Benins even from the Ogiso era. Now let us also read historical accounts, other historical documents that corrects the historical misrepresentations of Prince Ephraim Odiakose. Let's see the works of Professor Emmanuel Nwafomodi and Professor Angulo Onwejogu. Now, Professor Emmanuel Nwafomodi hails from Ubulu-Uku and Professor Angulo Onwejogu hails from Ibuzo, both in Enuani, just like Prince Ephraim is from Enuani. These are professors of history. The other one is a professor of history. He's now late. That is Professor Onwejogu. He was the founding head of the Department of History and Anthropology, University of Benin. So let's take a look at their historical works concerning the person of Ezechima, who is our primary interest here. Let's continue. Prince Ephraim committed a lot of historical blunders and we are going to expose them here. Let's look at the book Origin of Migrations of Igbos of South Central Nigeria by Professor Emmanuel Nwafomodi, who is a professor of history at the Delta State University, Abraka. The Ezechima account comes in various forms. Each of the communities that make up the Ezechima clan has its own version, but some points are common to all. The groups tend to agree that they were led out of Benin by Ezechima, that is King Chima, during the reign of Oba Esige, that is in the early 16th century. They, however, disagree on the cause of their flight. One version, recorded by Okpuno, associates the flight with an unsuccessful bid for the Benin throne by Princess Edelayo. The account claims that she was married to Chima and could not accede to the throne because she was in her menses. She assumed the title Eze King, and being Chima's wife, the names Eze na Chima, that is Eze and Chima, shortened to Ezechima, were used to refer to Princess Edelayo and her husband, Chima. Thus, the Eze or King, according to this version, refer to Princess Edelayo, while the event is said to have occurred before Esige acceded to power. Benin sources as recorded by Eyareva, 1968, page 20, however, mentions Princess Edelayo in relation to the events preceding Oba Oluwa's ascension to the throne, that is in the last quarter of the 15th century. The account is, however, silent on the Ezechima episode. Besides, the Eze title is not known to Benin, but instead is peculiar to Igbo language and political culture. Chima, if the story is to be considered, has to be the personality in question. Okpuno's account may be an adaptation of Ayareva's account. It is said that Chima and his entire household and followers fled Benin for fear of reprisal from Oba Esige. According to a second and more popular version of the story, as recorded by Hubbard, 1948, page 202, the group fled Benin to avoid being enslaved by Oba Esige, who had defeated them. The Chima group is said to have flogged a woman who, unknown to them, was the Queen Mother, for trespassing on and fetching firewood from their piece of land. The Oba was enraged and subsequently raised an army that defeated the group, who then fled to safety outside the territories of Esige. They founded settlements in the course of their flight. Apart from the settlements in Enuani area already mentioned, the fleeing group is said to have founded Onitsha. on the eastern banks of the river Niger. Obetimafo, Osisa, Ashaka are born in present Ndokwa local government area of Delta State, as well as Ozoro, said to have been founded by Ubulu-Uku, headquarters of present Isoko North local government area of Delta State, all on the western side of the Niger. Onwejogu 1987 page 30 to 33 notes the considerable confusion found in the various versions and the tendency as in Asaba to revise earlier traditions by superimposing Chima on the already established genealogy which traces Asaba to Nteje east of the Niger. He observes too that the Chima episode is not recorded by Areva in the earliest versions of his work on Benin, nor does the episode have its Benin version. He therefore draws attention to an Abo oral tradition on the Chima episode, which views Chima, spelled Kime, as a fugitive from Alisimen Abo. According to Abo tradition, having failed in his plot against Obi Adigwe of Abo in 1698, Chima fled eastwards and founded the EZECHIMA clan as a result. Relying on his comparative ethnographic analysis, Onwejogu insists that Abo was an ancient settlement founded by speakers of Proto-Igboid. Its nearness to Benin notwithstanding, he concludes that the near truth of the episode is that EZECHIMA came from Abo, not Benin. In his view, the claim of Benin conquest of West Igbo towns is not supported by any evidence whatsoever, except those claims made by Benin local historians and some armchair European and Edo writers. EZECHIMA clan's claim of Benin origin is attributed to the prestige which the Benin kingdom gained in the 18th century. Now looking at the analysis by Prince Ephraim Odiakose, it's very laughable. The only daughter of Obaeware recorded in the genealogy of Benin was Princess Edelayo, which makes the versions of these professional historians that I mentioned earlier very clear. Now there's no daughter of Obaeware that was called Uvi in the genealogy of Benin. There's no record of anyone called Uvi. So wherever Prince Ephraim manufactured this history from, just to tarnish the image of EZECHIMA and the descendants of EZECHIMA, is fallacious, it is unproven, it lacks merit, it lacks no basis, it wobbles because it is not factual. The only daughter recorded of Oba Eware was Edelayo, and Oba Eware was succeeded by Ozolua. Ozolua, then the father of Esige. I don't know how he took out Ozolua and arrived at Esige after Eware.
Following me, Oba Aragwa revived the title of Iyase. He gave the title to his trusted friend from EZECHIMA in the present day Anocha local government. He was not a Benin man.
History is not a story that you just pick up a pen and a paper, or you face yourself with microphone and you start telling. You have to also check the versions of other people, compare it for consistency and even for contradictions, and then you put out. He is stating emphatically like this is something he knows about, and he's stating lies emphatically. This is totally wrong. Now we will continue to follow this trend and ensure that the legacy of EZECHIMA is preserved, even while people are allowed to seek their ancestry, trace their origin. Lies must never be a part of it. Thank you for watching today's broadcast, and kindly hit the subscribe button to support our channel. Do have a very pleasant day.